Good morning and welcome back. My name is Jonah Beecroft. In this practical and engaging tutorial, we will break down what defined benefit scheme mean, its key features, how gratuity and pension multiplier work, step-by-step calculation of pension and gratuity, and a quick test to check your understanding. Without wasting time, let's dive in. What is defined pension benefit scheme? The defined pension benefit scheme, or the DBS, is the traditional pension arrangement mostly used by the public sector. That is to say that this arrangement is not popular with the private sector. It is famous with the public sector, public servant, civil servants. Under this scheme, your pension and gratuity are calculated based on your final salary and year of service. Pension and gratuity are calculated based on your final salary and year of service. That means you must know your final salary and you must also know the number of years you put in service before you will be able to calculate your pension and gratuity under the defined benefit scheme. Who pays? It is the government that is responsible for paying your gratuity and pension. It is the government that pays the gratuity and pension. While gratuity is paid once, which is the lump sum, a pension is for life. Gratuity, which is a lump sum, is paid once, but pension is paid for life. What are the features of the defined benefit scheme? Now let us take a look at the feature of the defined benefit scheme. Now, these are the key features of the defined benefit scheme. It is funded by the government. The defined benefit scheme is funded by the government alone. Yes, it is funded by the government. Pension is guaranteed, not dependent on employees and employers' contribution. This type of pension is paid by the government, is funded by the government, it's not dependent on whether the employee and the employer or the employee and the government. It follows a fixed formula. There's a fixed formula for the calculation of this pension. This pension has a fixed formula of calculation. You don't guess it. The formula is not ambiguous. It is straightforward word formula. Now, there's a formula for the lump sum, and there's also a formula for the gratuity. For example, if you work for 35 years and retire with a final monthly salary of 331,820, your pension could be around 265,000 naira per month for life, while your gratuity will be around at about 12 million. Yes. Let us take this as a practical example. If you work for 35 years and retire with a final monthly salary of 331 naira, 820 naira, your pension could be 265,000 naira per month, and you will get this pension for life. You will also get a gratuity, which is also called the lump sum, of about 12 million. Before we look into calculating this example, let us go and check what is called the multiplier. If we did not know the multiplier, we won't be able to calculate this pension and gratuity. So we'll return back to this example while we go and take a practical look at the multiplier. Now this is a multiplier. The multiplier is like the rule for calculating pension and gratuity. Every country has different pension and gratuity multiplier. But this multiplier, this table of multiplier in this tutorial is common among West African countries and some European countries abroad. Now, this pension and gratuity table stipulates the rules. Some of the rules are the regulation for someone to be qualified for pension and gratuity. When will somebody be qualified for pension and gratuity is answered with this table. How much is qualified for pension is also answered with this table. And how much, what proportion of your salary will you receive as a gratuity? What proportion of your salary will you receive as pension? The solution is in this table, so pay attention at this table. Now, the first line says qualifying year. That is this line. Say qualifying year. Qualifying year. That is the number of years you will put in service for you to be either qualified for pension or qualified for gratuity. Then the second line, which is GM percentage, means gratuity multiplier. It tells you how much of your annual salary will you collect as gratuity when you retire. Now, the PM percentage, which is a table by the rightmost corner, is, or we show you, or we tell you the portion, the proportion of your monthly salary you are going to receive as pension for life. Now, this table, from this table, we can observe that you will be qualified from pension from gratuity when you have put in, or after you have served at least 5 years. And after you've served for 5 years and you retire compulsorily or voluntarily, you're entitled to 100% of your annual salary. That is to say, a gratuity is computed with the annual salary. The annual salary. And when you are put in, well, after serving for, 30 years, 30 years is here now, your gratuity will be 260% times your annual salary. That's your last annual salary. That is the 30th year annual salary. You use it to calculate your gratuity. So gratuity is computed with the annual salary. And if you have served for 35 years, according to this table, it means your gratuity is going to be 300% of your annual salary. Different countries have different table of pension and gratuity. For you to be able to calculate the pension and gratuity of any country, you will first of all be given, or the table of, the multiplier table must be known. And when somebody has served for 35 years in this table, it means that the gratuity is going to be 300% of the annual salary. That is to say, the annual salary times 3 is the gratuity. Because 300% means times 3. 500% means times 5. Yes, you have to change 300% to a decimal number. Changing 300% to a decimal number, you have 3.0, which is equals to 3. Now let us go to the the pension column. Nobody will be qualified for pension until he has served a minimum of 10 years according to this schedule in the country where this multiplier is practiced. This table is an arbitrary table, table that shows the pension of an arbitrary country. Now, in the table, nobody is qualified for pension when he served only 9 years, when he served 8 years, when he served 7 years, when he served 6 years, when he served 5 years. But to be qualified for gratuity, immediately he served up to 5 years. That is what this table is saying. Now, the pension is calculated in either monthly salary or the annual salary. If you calculate the pension with the annual salary, that means you are going to divide whatever you have by 12 to give you the monthly salary. This is the multiplier table, or the table of pension and gratuity. Now, in our last tutorial, we mentioned that before you'll be able to calculate your pension and gratuity, you must first of all calculate the number of years you served. The reason for calculate the number of years you serve is to enable you to get either the gratuity multiplier or the pension multiplier. For example, the person, a civil servant that have completed 10 years in service, we trace his gratuity multiplier and a pension multiplier in this way. 10 years, this is 10 years, this is 10 years. In this case, the gratuity multiplier is going to be 100%, while the pension multiplier is going to be 30%. In the same way, when somebody attends serve up to 30 years, then his gratuity multiplier is going to be what? 260, while its pension multiplier is going to be what? 70. So the purpose of knowing the number of years served is for you to be able to know either the pension multiplier or the gratuity and the gratuity what? Multiplier. Now let us go back to that example to see how we can attempt that first example. Now that example says, this example here, the example here, example says, that example says, if you work for 35 years and retire with a final monthly salary of 331,820, your pension could be around 265,000 per month for life, plus gratuity of almost what? 12 million. Now let us try to attempt to solve this one as first example. We're going to do it practical now. Solution. You see, the annual pay, it is the monthly pay that is given here. This is the monthly pay. It is the monthly pay that is shown. So for us to calculate the gratuity, we have to use the annual pay, annual final salary. That is what we are going to use. And so the annual final salary is monthly salary times 12, which is 331,820 times 12. And that is going to give us 3,901,840. And the gratuity multiplier is 300%. Now, why did we get the gratuity multiplier 300%? Because this man have served for 35 years. In our table there, the gratuity multiplier for 35 years is 300%. And the pension multiplier in that our table is equals to what? 80%. It's equals to what? 80%. So 80%. So what we are going to do here is to find what are the gratuity and what the pension. First of all, let us find the pension. We can get the pension by multiplying the pension multiplier with the monthly salary to get the monthly pension. And if we are going to use the annual salary after getting the annual pension, then we are going to divide it by 12 to get the monthly salary. But the cheapest one now is to use the monthly salary. So pension. So let us calculate the pension. The pension now is equals to, pension multiplier times monthly salary. Let us use monthly salary multiplied by what? Monthly salary, which is what? 331. Okay, plus multiply by 12 monthly salary. Monthly salary. Monthly pay, because of space. That is equal to 80%, that is 80 over 100 times the monthly salary, which is what? 331 840, and that will automatically give us about 265,000 naira, as stated in the example, and that is what the pension that you will receive for life under the defined benefit scheme. Now let us go and compute the gratuity. The gratuity now is equal to the gratuity multiplier multiplied by what? The annual salary. It is the annual salary that we use to compute this, and the annual salary, that is multiplied by the annual salary. Annual salary, which is what? The annual salary as computed there is 3,981,981. Then 840. Now, and the gratuity multiplier there is 300%, which is equals to 300%, and 300% is 300 divides 300% is 300 over 100 times 3,981,840, and this will eventually give us will give us 11 million. Eventually give us 11,945,000. Will give us 11,945,520, and that is about 12 million. That's about 12 million. Yes. You find out that it is simple, it's very simple. Formula, straightforward formula to calculate, and it is very easy for you to calculate your pension and gratuity under the defined pension scheme. Let's proceed. Now, we are going to, from what we have just done now, take the formula for calculating pension and gratuity. The formula for calculating pension and gratuity, so that you will be properly grounded in the calculation of pension and gratuity. Now, to calculate pension and gratuity, first of all, to calculate gratuity. To calculate gratuity, you need what? The gratuity factor. It's just gratuity factor or gratuity multiplier times annual salary. And you will get the gratuity multiplier by getting the number of years served. So the formula is gratuity multiplier times annual salary, where the GM there mean gratuity what? Multiplier. As I say, GM multiplied by annual salary. The GM there is gratuity what? Multiplier. You will get the gratuity multiplier from that table by knowing the number of years that the pensioner, that retiree served. Now, the pension, just as we have seen earlier, the formula is pension multiplier times your monthly salary. For monthly pension, then pension multiplier times your annual salary for annual pension. Of course, if you use the annual salary, then you have to divide it by 12 to give you the monthly salary. Now, the final pay is equal to the last payment, which includes basic salary plus transport allowance plus rent allowance, or what is called rent subsidy. Now, let us try to take a look at another example. Let us take another example so that you will be familiar on how to calculate your pension, especially if you are on the defined benefit scheme. Now, this is a question. This question reads, Mr. Ijoma joined the public service of Anioma State on 10 January 2009 and retired on 31st December 2020. His final pay were as follows: annual basic salary 200,000, annual transport allowance 68,000, annual rent allowance or rent subsidy is 104,000. You are required to calculate the pension and gratuity. The first step you will take here now is to calculate the number of years that Mr. Ijoma served in the public service. They say he served from, he was enlisted or employed in January 2009 and he retired to 31st December 2020. So the first step is 1. Calculate the number of years. The number of years now is 2009 to 2020. And if you calculate it properly, you will discover that Mr. Ijoma has served for 11 years. Mr. Ijoma has served for 11 years. Now, after finding the 11 years, the next thing you will do is find the pension multiplier. Now you will go to the pension table and trace 11 years, and whatever percentage you have there is the percentage or is the proportion, is the size of the pension of Mr. Ijoma. And you find also the gratuity multiplier. You use 11 years and trace the gratuity multiplier. Whatever percentage is there is what we are going to multiply with the annual salary of Mr. Ijoma to give you a gratuity entitlement. Now, you have to calculate also the final pay. After calculating the final pay, then you apply the formula as given above. Now let us go to number 4. You have to find the final pay. What did they say about the final pay? Look at this. You say, Mr. Ijoma joined the public services of Anioma State on so and so. See, his final pay. Good. That means everything given here is his final pay. So his final pay is the addition of the basic salary, the transport allowance, and the rent subsidy or rent allowance. Now, if this final pay is given per month, if they say monthly basic salary is this, monthly transport allowance is this, and monthly annual salary is this, then to calculate the gratuity, you have to times the salary, the final salary addition of this by 12, because we need the annual salary to calculate the gratuity. But in this case, it is the annual salary that is given, so there is no need multiplying by what? 12. So let us go. The first thing there is to calculate the final salary. The final salary now here is 200,000 plus 68,000 plus 104,000, which eventually gives us 372,000. So we have gotten the pension multiplier. The pension multiplier is 32%, and the gratuity multiplier is what? 102%. So let's go. So we are going back to this place to solve that problem. Let us open up this slide again to solve that problem. In that problem, we have gotten the annual salary to be 372,000. That is salary per annum. And we have also gotten the pension multiplier, which is what? 32%. And also, we have been able to also know the gratuity multiplier, which is what? 108 or so. or 108 or so. So this time around, let us first go and trace the gratuity multiplier again. The gratuity multiplier, I think we know it to be for 11 years. For 11 years, the pension, for 11 years, the gratuity multiplier is 108 and the pension multiplier is 32. So at 11 years, we have the pension multiplier 108% and the gratuity multiplier is 108% and the pension multiplier is 32%. Let's go back. Now we are going to solve this problem. And what are we going to do? We are going to use this one. We are going to say for the pension, we are going to say 32% times the annual salary, because it is annual salary that is given. After getting the annual salary, we have the annual pension, then we divide by 12, and that is give us what the monthly pension. Then at the pension, we are going to say 108% times the annual salary, and when we multiply it, it will give us the pension. Take note that the gratuity is calculated with the value of the annual salary. Pension can be calculated with the value of annual salary, thereafter divided by 12 to give you the monthly salary, or calculated directly with the monthly salary, and it will give you what? The monthly salary. Now, the pension multiplier differ from country to country. The government or your employer use this multiplier to manipulate your pension. In some countries, some services that are highly risky or that face much risk, they increase their pension multiplier. For instance, in some country, the armed forces, the police, the health workers, the pilot, so many of them that faces severe risk in their job, their multiplier for the last year could go as high as 100%. For the pension, and also the gratuity could go as high as 500%. And if it is 500%, that means you will use 5 to multiply the annual salary. So when they say you go home with 80% of your salary, that means your pension multiplier is 80%. If they say you go home with 100% of your salary, that means your pension multiplier is 100%. Pension multiplier is determined by the government or your employers. The government or your employer determine your pension multiplier, or it could be defined in the constitution or the labor law or any status in that particular what country. Now let us do this calculation. Let us try to solve that question. Now the pension is pension multiplier times annual salary or times monthly salary, as the case may be. And the pension multiplier there is equals to 32%, while monthly salary or annual salary is 372,000. Then, which is the same thing as 32 over 100, because 32% is 32 over 100 times 372,000 over 1. And 32 over 100 is as good as 0.32 times 37200. And this will give you annual pension of 119,040. Then monthly pension will be divide this amount by 12, and so you get the monthly pension as 9,920. 9,920. This is as simple as ABC. Now let us proceed. Let us proceed to go and calculate the gratuity. Then the gratuity also will be calculated by multiplying the gratuity multiplier by the annual salary. That is all. The GM, which is gratuity multiplier, is equals to 108%. The final pay is this. So the gratuity is just GM times annual final pay, which is 108 over 100 times 37 of 108% times 307,000. That also means 108 over 100 over 100 multiplied by 372, that's 372,000 over 1. Now 108 is the same thing as 1.08. 1.08. And when you multiply them, you will have 401,760. And that is your pension. That is your pension. Therefore, the monthly pension, that is your gratuity. The monthly pension is 99. Yes, because he retired in time. He retired after serving only 11 years. If he has served up to 35 years, his salary will be increased and you will have more pension and more gratuity. That means a pension and gratuity is a function of the salary. It's a function of the salary. That means pension and gratuity varies as the salary varies. When the salary is increased, pension and gratuity will increase. And when the salary is low, our pension and gratuity will be low. It also varies according to the year of service which an individual put in the job. When you retire earlier, your pension and gratuity will be smaller. When you retire after 35 years or 40 years, as the case may be, your pension and gratuity will be large. Yes. I think we have come to the end of this tutorial, but we are not going to leave you. We are going to bring out one question for you to test yourself to know whether you will be able to calculate your pension and gratuity. You by now take your pay slip, add its final pay, times it by 12, and try to calculate your pension and gratuity under the defined benefit scheme. This tutorial is under the defined benefit scheme, that is the DBS. We shall take up the contributory pension scheme in our next tutorial. Now, this is the question you're hungry to test yourself to actually know whether you are flowing with us. This is the hungry. It says Mr. Enwaful Uwoma, who works as a director in Ministry of Social Security, Ejikoma State, Federal Republic of Ireland. Retire on 31 December 2024 with a final monthly pay of $401,118 after serving for 35 years. The multiplier schedule for retirement benefit in Federal Republic of Ireland is as shown below. Year, gratuity multiplier, pension multiplier, everything 28 to 35 is given. Question: required to calculate the monthly pension, the monthly gratuity of Mr. Enwaful Uwoma. 1. You are going to do this calculation under the defined benefit scheme. Your assignment is to do this question under the defined benefit scheme. Then the number 2 did not concern you. Number 2, you say you also do it under the contributive pension scheme. If 45,750,250.84 is the balance of Enwaful Uwoma retirement saving accounts, and 25 years is allowed for lump sum withdrawal. After retirement, the retirement savings account holder is expected to live for 20 years after retirement. This question requires you to compute the pension benefits and the gratuity benefit only under the defined benefit scheme. Under the defined benefit scheme. On this note, we conclude this section of the tutorial. Next up is the contributory pension scheme. In that tutorial, We are going to explore the definition of the contributory pension scheme, the feature of the contributory pension scheme, who contribute this money, how many percent is contributed by who and who, how do you calculate your pension and gratuity under the contributory pension scheme. If this tutorial has assisted you, do not hesitate to share this tutorial so that others will benefit. Like this tutorial and subscribe to our channel. I'll see you in our next tutorial. Bye for now.